Welcome to the testing world. In this session, we are going to understand what is Selenium. So Selenium is a free tool for functional and regression automation testing. It's a free tool which is available in the market. We need not to take license to work on Selenium. It is developed by a company named ThoughtWorks. In Selenium, we are going to get 4 components. We can call it parts, Selenium IDE, RC, full form of the RC is remote control, grid, and WebDriver. So Selenium has 4 parts, ID, RC, grid, and WebDriver. We are going to understand all these components throughout this course, but major concentration will be on this WebDriver. So we are going to understand this WebDriver in detail. Now we need to understand why Selenium is so popular in the market. So because we have many other tools in the market, but why Selenium is getting so popularity? These are the few advantages of Selenium. So first and the biggest advantage, it's free. We have many other tools which are running in the market, like we can take the example of the QTP. New name of the QTP is UFT. UFT is a paid tool, so we have to pay a very hefty license fee for working on QTP, and this license need to be renewed every year. But in the case of the Selenium, it is free. We need not to go for any license. Also, it supports multiple programming language. So while working with the Selenium, we can write code in different programming language. We can either use Java, we can use Python, we can use Ruby or C#. So it supports multiple programming language. Third advantage is that it supports multiple browsers. So Selenium supports multiple browsers for test case execution. Like we can create test case and we can execute same test case on the different browsers. So it supports cross-browser testing. It supports different browsers like Firefox, Google Chrome, IE, Opera, Safari, and many more. So it supports multiple browsers. Next, and one of the most important advantage is grid. So with the help of the grid, we can execute our test case in parallel. Ultimately, we are going to save a lot of time in execution. So I can take example like we are working on a team and we already have 100 test case which are automated. And I'm taking example like each test case is going to take 1 minute to execute. Now, if I execute all the 100 test case in sequential manner, it's going to take 100 minutes. But with the help of the grid, we can execute multiple test cases in parallel. So if we execute 4 test cases in parallel, so ultimately my total execution will complete in 25 minutes. So that's the biggest saving in terms of time. Before it was taking 100 minutes to execute, now it's taking only 25 minutes to execute. So we can save a lot of time in execution. Next, I'm moving to disadvantage. So as we have seen, we have many advantages to work on Selenium. In the same way, we have few disadvantages as well. First and the biggest disadvantage is that it supports only web-based application. So you can automate only applications which are running on the browser. Also, programming skills are required. So if you are not familiar with any programming language, you have to learn a programming language, because here 90% tasks you can do only by programming. So programming skills are mandatory to work on a Selenium. So that is a disadvantage, because most of the professionals who are working in a QA domain or testing domain, they are not familiar with the programming skills. But to work on Selenium, it's mandatory to learn any programming language. Third disadvantage is it's not user friendly. Means we have to perform almost all the tasks by programming. We are not going to get GUI options to perform the different tasks. So here it's not a user friendly. Last is no support available. So here, while working with the Selenium, if you are getting any issues, you cannot contact with the Selenium support team because they are not providing any support. If you are getting any issues, either go for Google or you ask your friends. But here we are not going to get any support from Selenium, or we can say ThoughtWorks. So here we have seen what is Selenium, advantage of the Selenium and disadvantage of the Selenium. Moving to next, like parts of the Selenium. So we have parts or components of Selenium. So we have 4 components: Selenium IDE, RC, Grid and WebDriver. So Selenium IDE is used for record and play. It's a plugin on the Firefox browser. We are going to install a plugin on the Firefox browser, and it support record and play, means we can record our test cases, we can play our test cases as well, but only on the Firefox browser. Second component is RC. Full form is remote control. So with the help of the RC, we can execute our test case on the multiple browsers. So test case which you have developed either by the Selenium IDE or you have written your test case in programming language, if you want to execute these test case on different browsers, with the help of the RC, we can execute our test case on the multiple browsers. Next we have Grid. With the help of the Selenium Grid, we can execute our test cases in parallel. So by default, if we have 100 test cases, you can execute all test cases in sequential manner only. But if you want to execute your test case in parallel, you can go for Grid. So we are going to understand Grid detail by the end of this course. Next is WebDriver. So WebDriver behave as an alternate of the Selenium RC. With the help of the WebDriver, we can execute our test case on the multiple browsers, which is same as RC. But in case of WebDriver, we are going to get a lot of advantages, like with the help of WebDriver, we can automate Android application, we can automate iOS applications. So these are the few advantages I've told you. We are going to understand many more advantages in detail while starting WebDriver. So these are the 4 components of Selenium. So in this session, we have seen 4 topics: what is Selenium, advantage of the Selenium, disadvantage of the Selenium, and then components or parts of Selenium. So that's all we have for this session. Thanks for watching this video.